What is up, everybody? Welcome back. We are here on this fine Tuesday evening to talk about the latest week of NFL football that we have been brought. I'm Sam Fortney here with my co-host Ryan Przelomski. We're back to talk another week of NFL football. A lot of good games this weekend, a few extremely surprising upsets, and we've got all of it right here for you. Whether it's 49ers and losing to the Browns, Eagles losing to the Jets, it is all being talked about right here on Hold Down the Fort. Before we get into this, remember to like the video, subscribe, turn on those notifications for more, and let us know in the comments what you want to see more of. I'm always reading those comments. We've actually been getting a lot more comments recently, so thank you guys for the continued support. Without further ado, Ryan, let's get straight into this. Like I just said, huge upsets this weekend, but nothing was bigger than the 49ers losing on a last-second missed field goal to the Cleveland Browns, led by none other than P.J. Walker, the Panthers star himself. They lost 19-17. C-Mac goes down, Debo goes down, Trent Williams goes down. Brock Purdy loses his Avengers squad, and boy, did it look like it, because up until that very last drive, he was looking very pedestrian. I know you were probably loving every second of that, because last week that was your whole grounds. Last week was that Brock Purdy is, paraphrasing you. I mean, Davis Mills could do what Brock Purdy is doing right now, and it sure looked like it on Sunday in a brutal loss. And I already kind of know what you're going to say to this, but I got to ask you anyway, Ryan. Was Brock Purdy exposed here?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I called it out the week before. If he doesn't have 5 all-pros playing with him on the field, he's not good. You should still be able to perform with Ayuk, your backups, and I mean, you're only down McCaffrey and Debo. Now, those are 2 big players, but the Niners offense is loaded all around. That shouldn't be a losing to P.J. Walker offense.
I agree. I mean, it's just
And
ridiculous.
McCaffrey still scored a touchdown, so you still got work out of him.
Exactly.
It's kind of what I said. If he doesn't have 5 all-pros around him, he looks like Davis Mills.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not like you have no weapons, right? Like, of course, Kittle was still there. Ayuk was still there. Kyle Shanahan is still your coach. The rest of that O-line is no scrubs themselves. And look, you can say this Cleveland defense is phenomenal, and that it is. Like, this is literally statistically, I don't think we all agree that it actually is, but statistically, it's one of the best defenses of the last 50 years, like numbers-wise.
Yes,
So, I mean,
yes.
we all agree that this is a phenomenal Cleveland defense, no matter which way you want to put it. It's just no excuse for this, right? Like, not when you're led by P.J. Walker. You still should have been able to hit 20 points, and your defense should have been able to limit them to, less than 19 points with P.J. Walker. Not to mention, it's not like Nick Chubb is there running for, 200 yards anyways. I don't know if he was exposed. I mean, it's definitely very damning evidence. I would be more ready to say it was exposed if this happened, say, to, like, the Texans or, one of these teams that they're not – like, if this happened in the Giants game, and they just did this to the New York Giants and that defense, then I'd be on your side. I'd be ready to say maybe he got a little bit exposed. But because this was such a great defense, I'm not so quick to jump to that ship, so to speak. I still think he's a good quarterback. Maybe this changed my perception of him a little bit. He wasn't quite where I was thinking he was ascending to, but I think he's still a good quarterback, and I don't quite think he was exposed. Now, if this happens next week, we'll do our pick'em soon, and of course, I think the bye's coming up. I think they still play this coming weekend. They play.
They play
No,
Minnesota
they play.
Monday
Yeah,
night.
so the Vikings on Monday. So if this happens
They
again to
say
a Vikings
McCaffrey should be
defense,
back.
yeah, I think I saw today that all of the guys are supposed to at least practice and be questionable for the game, so everyone has a chance to play. None of them
Yeah,
are long.
no major injuries.
Right, but if this were to happen again to a Minnesota defense, then you might be starting to win me over, and I could say he's exposed. For now, though, I mean,
I got a question
for
for you,
now,
Sam.
I'm not quite ready to go that far yet.
I got a question for you.
Yeah,
Do you put the Browns defense over the Cowboys defense?
yeah, I do actually right now. Just because they lost Trayvon Diggs, I'll give the Browns defense the edge. Because I mean,
By how much? If you had to rank them, I'm not
best.
asking for a number, but I'd
I mean,
say they're 1A,
in no
1B to each
specific
other. I'm not
order, I
saying they're
think
1A in the league.
49ers, Browns, and Cowboys are the top three defenses in the NFL.
Okay. Did they not put up 40 plus on the top 3 defense?
Yeah, they did. But each defense has different styles, and I think the Cowboys defense was a lot more susceptible to the run, and McCaffrey was able to burn them. And it's the Cowboys in prime time. That's a lot different than this Cleveland defense that doesn't really
It's like
waver.
Herb Bust and Kirk Cousins,
Yeah,
the two biggest culprits.
the Cleveland defense doesn't really like change based on the environment that you put them in, right? Like this defense is consistent each and every week, no matter what time of day they're playing or who they're playing against. Cowboys, we can always expect them to crack under that pressure a little bit, so I gauge them a little differently. I still think Cleveland has a decent edge on the Cowboys defense. But you're right. I mean, he did play great against the Cowboys, and it was a dramatic difference here. I will say the Cowboys game was that not at home too.
It was in San Francisco.
Yeah, so it was
Yeah.
in San Francisco. Cleveland, they were playing in Cleveland, so that's going to play a difference. So there's a lot of factors that contribute.
I don't know if it's a 30-point difference, but
I don't.
it's just
I
because it's
Yeah,
because
I don't know.
Davis Mills Jr. can't play unless he has all his Pro Bowl receivers.
Yeah, he was missing as I've seen a lot of people have been putting at the Avengers squad of skill position players there, and
Yeah.
I
I
get
didn't
it.
even mention Kittle initially. I forgot about him. He had one catch for 1 yard.
One catch for 1 yard, and
Yeah,
any
I have him
fantasy
on my
winner,
fantasy team.
Yeah, of course. You have horrible luck with fantasy. If it's not Najee Harris, it's George Kittle.
Najee Harris, George Kittle, Aaron Jones are all on one team.
Could be worse. You could have Devontae Adams right now. He's put up under 10 in his last 2 games.
What if I told you I'm also a Devontae Adams owner? Well, we don't got to get into that. And I also owned J.K. Dobbins in that league and had to
It's okay.
release
Well,
him.
in our league that me and you were in, I had Nick Chubb, so
Yeah.
but we're in a
And
six
also,
man.
I was
So
a
every team is like
Christian
a 40.
Watson holder in that league, and there was just so much him not playing for the first month. I had to cut him.
Well, I got offered today. I got offered Josh Jacobs for Devontae Adams straight up and declined it.
Yeah.
Makes no sense. But anyways,
Jacoby
I
Myers
digress.
has been playing like Devontae Adams
Yeah,
point wise.
exactly. Jacoby Myers has been wide receiver 1 recently. But you know,
Belichick.
I digress. I don't know if I'm ready to say Brock Purdy was exposed. I'd give it one more week. I know you were like chomping at the bit to get to this topic because
Okay,
you've
but
been
Sam,
on.
he's playing Brian Flores' bottom ranked defense. Like, that's not a flex
So
if he
this, I
goes
mean,
out and
look, this is
wins.
going to attest to your point. Then, if he struggles against the Brian Flores bottom defense, then I'm
Worst
ready.
coach
You
in
know
the
what?
league.
I'm coming to you, and I'm saying he got exposed, but I'm not ready to admit that yet. Right, the other upset, we had two huge ones this weekend. Obviously, 49ers lose to the Browns, but the Zach Wilson Jets managed to take down the Eagles in just such a weird game. Jalen Hurts really struggling in this game. He had the one rush touchdown, one pass touchdown, so you get one of each, but he goes with 3 interceptions, and that's for a player of his caliber and to where a lot of us have ascended Jalen Hurts to be. I think we can all agree that that's just so unacceptable. Yeah, he gets 280 yards, a touchdown, and 3 interceptions, and a rushing touchdown too. My question to you though, Ryan, is like, who does this game really say more about? Right? Are the Jets are now 3-3 without Aaron Rodgers, proving to be a bit frisky for whatever it's worth. Does this say more about them, or are the Eagles showing that we have to be a little more concerned about them than we currently are?
Way more about the Eagles. And we've kind of hinted at this throughout the 5-6 weeks of shows
Yeah, I guess
before
this
this.
is our sixth
They
week.
they haven't looked good. They haven't played anyone. And when they have played teams, they barely beat them, or they've played mediocre and still somehow won because the other team was so much worse than them.
Even the poverty Patriots.
Yeah, week 1. I do think Philly's still a playoff team because the NFC is relatively weak.
I know down
But
to them.
it's embarrassing to lose to Zach Wilson, who didn't do anything. It was all the defense that carried the Jets, minus Sauce and minus Reed.
Which is crazy that they were able to do all that minus both of those. That's really impressive on the Jets' part.
I agree.
We'll see. The
I don't
Eagles,
know what.
the
And
Eagles
then
have a test this
3
weekend.
picks with a
Yeah.
backup secondary. That's crazy. And one of them was a defensive lineman, but still, your cornerbacks were locking down their receivers.
The Eagles have
I
their
mean,
biggest.
the Jets, they're 3-3, but I'm just tired of this. Rodgers is coming back in 5 weeks or whatever the media wants to spin it. Like,
Week
you're not making the
15.
playoffs. They'll just be floating around mediocrity.
Do you think there's any validity to him coming back week 15?
Absolutely not. That's that. And even if he does, you're telling me the man's coming in cold week 15? in the loaded AFC, and then is going to probably play a road playoff game
if they
at
if they
20
win that
years old with a
playoffs
surgically repaired knee.
and Achilles. I don't know. It's tricky to me, but I
It's
think
all New York media, Sam. Where's the
yeah,
media? It's New York. They're just trying to cope. Like Greenberg or what's his name?
yeah,
Greeny on
Mike
ESPN.
Greenberg, yeah.
He's just trying to cope. He's trying to speak it into existence. That's all the media is doing. They got to keep the Jets relevant. They were supposed to be the Taylor Swift of this year's NFL. So, you know, I mean they'll float around, but I don't see them being anything but a 7th seed if a miracle happens. A 7th seed.
I mean, I will say through the first 6 weeks, I'd assume most of us agree that they're probably better than we expected them to be, especially without Rodgers, right? Like, I think you kind of swapped. Like, maybe you were supposed to like win the Patriots game and then lose the Eagles game. In reverse, you lost Patriots, but somehow you win this. Regardless, I never expected them to be 3-3, right? I thought they would be in the 2-4
2 and
range,
4.
probably. I
But
thought,
it's
yeah,
all their defense, Sam. It's
it is.
all
I
the
know it
defense.
is, but that's how good this defense is. They're living up to the hype that they were given early
I
on
agree.
in the
Zach
preseason.
Wilson's still terrible. I don't care about he's playing better. He's still terrible.
It's an improvement, but I mean, you're improving from so low that you got to improve so far just to get to a decent level. And you're right, he's not there yet. But I mean, regardless, this Jets team is proving to be a bit more frisky. I'm concerned about the Eagles. They have a huge test this weekend in the Dolphins. I know we'll be
We have a
paying
huge test
close
as
attention
well
to
because
that.
we're technically a fraud against good teams according to the national media.
According
So
to me too, baby. After that Bills game,
it's a
but
test for both of us.
yeah, I mean, look at their defensive line versus our O line is going to be the biggest. That's going to be. I have to pay attention to the defense, like of the
I
Dolphins.
gotta hope Eichenberg's not at center or
Right.
Tua's gonna.
It's gonna be how do they deal with Hassan Reddick, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, all these guys coming off the edges and
Yeah,
up through the middle. Like, how do we deal with that? I'm not even that concerned about the pass defense, which is scary for the Eagles because that's where they're weak. And
we
the
get
Dolphins
guys open. That's
play.
not our issue.
And I don't think anybody's that got banged up a little bit last week is going to be hurt. Like Hill should be playing. All our guys should be there. So it's going to be interesting. I'm really intrigued for that matchup. And a week ago I probably would have picked the Eagles to win. Now when we do our pick 'em, I'm going to have a little bit more to think about because of
Yeah,
everything that's happened between them and the Jets.
definitely.
Yeah. I mean that does it for the upsets of the weekend though. Those two are crazy. I mean watching live, all of us, me, Ryan and I, and we have our other friends on and group chats and whatnot. I mean we were just so taken aback by both of those upsets. None of us could have predicted that. But without further ado, the third edition of none other than our newest segment of Ryan's Rankings. Please, guys, tune into the college football videos we do. Those are some of my personal favorites. We've debuted Sam's standings on there. And when we do NFL, we've got Ryan's Rankings. And without further ado, I would love to bring you guys the third week of Ryan's Rankings. I am excited to see everything. I have not gone through the whole list yet. But without further ado, Ryan, take it away.
Absolutely. All right, so we got week 6. So the Bucks fell out. They kind of got
It was
embarrassing
a
at
party.
home. Yeah, it very similar to when the Eagles play them at home. I'm not putting I still think they're top 15 in the league because there's some really bad teams in the NFL this year,
Exactly.
but
And it's just, they
they're
do
not
seem,
top 10 at the moment. I
yeah,
can't
they
I
do
can't
seem
put
to
them.
significantly decline.
So for number 10, we got Dallas. Knocked them down one spot. They did win barely because of Justin Herbert's fourth quarter magic. You can bet the house on Justin Herbert not clutching in the fourth or throwing a fourth quarter interception anytime it matters. He's a bum. Bum. Dallas didn't particularly look great, but they had enough. That's all you had to do. It was basically a home game for them on the road. So I still got them in the top 10. Not going to completely knock them out.
I mean, man, we'll talk more about Justin Herbert another time, but these fourth quarter games are getting really concerning. If for anyone
It's
who watches the
every
start of the
single fourth quarter, Sam. Pick or chokes in a different way that isn't a pick. So I got the Browns at 9. They were previously unranked. I feel like you can't have a top 10 list this week without the Browns. The defense
Agreed.
is legit. They won with PJ Walker. I mean, when Deshaun comes back, this could be a scary team and definitely a wild card contender in
Yeah,
the
definitely could
AFC.
be a sleeper. I agree.
Defense is disgusting. So good thing the Dolphins don't play that. Baltimore, I got them at 8, up one spot. Hard fought game in London. It was really not as close as it should have been. They were blowing them out, and they just kind of let them come back in the second half. I'm not
Malik
going to
Willis,
fault them too much because in London, some teams have played sleepy. Some teams have been wired, like the Jaguars when they were there for 2 weeks. End of the day, they won. I just moved them up one. Not a lot of change there. Bills, they should have lost. They got bailed out by the NFL, the refs, and the ambulance. I'm not going to move them
it's so
down,
bad.
but we'll keep them at 7. We'll keep them at 7. Jaguars, they were also previously at 6. One against Minshew. Minshew's going to be QB1 for the rest of the year unless they go sign someone.
It's sad to
Uh,
see. AR was looking
I
promising.
think the Colts seasons, it's
They, they
done.
they were being frisky with when Anthony Richardson was playing. They were
I
competing
agree, and I'm
all
the
these
biggest
games.
AR hater, and he was playing good.
Yeah, he was. He was keeping them in
You
every
can clip
game. They
this
were
and send it
never
to
away.
Michael, but I'm just saying
Right.
he was playing good. But at the end of the day, if you can't stay healthy, just like Tua, every single year, knock on wood, before what we're witnessing currently.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with him.
Yeah, we'll see in Philly. So I got Philly down one spot from last week. Honestly, because the NFL is so bad right now at the bottom, and there's only a few like decent teams, I didn't push them down that much. But they look terrible. They have a huge test this week. Yeah, I got them at 5. Detroit, arguably, you could put eye test number 1 in the league at the moment. But I do have them at 4. Convincingly won in Tampa. I think right now they're the second biggest test in the NFC, and I think if the Niners have prolonged injuries, they could be a 1 seed in the NFC. Especially the way Brock Purdy's been playing without the whole roster.
That's true.
Niners, if they're all healthy, you can't knock them too much. Need to see more out of Brock Purdy, but I'm dropped him down from number 1 to number 3 for this week. And the Chiefs, Chiefs fans were saying the Broncos had the worst defense. What the Dolphins did wasn't impressive. They put up 19 points at home on prime time to the Broncos. Now, I'm not saying that as they should have scored 70 like we did. I'm just saying that as the fact that the Dolphins get discredited for dropping 70 on the Broncos. They put up 19 in a home game. The Bills discredit the Dolphins for blowing out the Giants. They put up under 20 against the Giants with Tyrod Taylor. The Dolphins
All
just
this is
get
true.
discredited by the national media. Like Stephen A. Smith was saying, Tua only throws it 2 yards to Tyreek, and Tyreek does the rest. While there's videos of him throwing 50-yard bombs in the background. The national media has a narrative to push. And the narrative is the Dolphins
What
aren't good.
else is there? I mean, we all know they're always pushing narratives. That's what we like here. We try and keep it as little narratives as possible. Obviously, sometimes stuff slips through the cracks, so to speak. Maybe every now and then, but we like to just talk ball. Whatever, no matter what ball it is,
Yeah.
we're just talking balls here. We don't try and
Yeah.
let the
And then
narrative slip
obviously
in.
number 1, big test this
Accept
week.
narrative.
We'll see if we're frauds. I agree. We'll see this week.
Yeah, this is going to be the week where we prove if this narrative is worth pushing or not.
Now, I'm not saying the Panthers are good, but that was the first time we've been down double digits, 14 plus points in a game. 14-0, and we still came back.
Adam Thielen.
Not that it's impressive, but we need that. You need to see how they respond to just, instead of going down the field and scoring every time, how do we respond when we're down 14 in the first quarter and the stadium goes flat? And they did.
What has happened to Adam Thielen? I mean, this dude is all
He's a
all of a
beast.
sudden.
Bro, he looks like Cooper Kupp 2 years ago when he won the Triple Crown. Same build and everything. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But that's what I got right now, top 10 wise. We're gonna see a lot about the Dolphins and Eagles. I feel like depending on who wins, one should be probably number one, and that, or at least top two, and one probably shouldn't even be in the top five,
I agree.
depending on how the game goes. If it's a slugfest and someone wins on a game-winning kick,
We can't
that'd be
punish
best
them too
case
much,
scenario
right?
for
Yeah,
both teams to show that both teams can compete. But if
yeah.
one team blows the other team out, yeah, especially
I
the
agree.
Dolphins, we cannot afford a blowout.
No, not at all.
No, even though
I
it's an
agree.
NFC game, still it's the morale purpose.
Yeah, I love the list this week. The I I got a little bit. I don't know about an issue. Maybe just intrigued with that top four, top five. I got to put the Lions ahead of San Francisco. I do. The Lions have looked like at least. I mean, they're the team with my least amount of concern. I think the Dolphins have looked like the best team, but the defense is so bad that I've cause for concern. Detroit is in
Yeah, but
every win
damn,
defensively.
that San Francisco team, when they're clicking, no one can stop them.
Yeah, but is Jared Goff? I mean, is Ken better than what's his name, Davis Mills? I mean, like I like Jared Goff. I think he's one of the better quarterbacks.
Yeah, I love Jared Goff.
Arguably the best quarterback in the NFC. Um, they've got
Not
good. They've
saying
got
much,
Amon
but
Ra. Yeah, I mean, you got Amon Ra. Jamison Williams is back. Reynolds has been playing good. You got Gibbs and Montgomery in the backfield, even though I know there's injuries to all those guys.
both of
I
them.
love their offensive line. They have a top five offensive line in the league. I mean, there's a lot to like about this Detroit team, and they're 5-1. The one loss was not recently. They have good wins against teams like the Chiefs. I gotta put them a little bit over San Francisco just for this week. And then, you can really argue them over anybody. You can argue that they're the number one team right
I
now.
test. Yeah.
Because once you put them at number three, then you look at them against the Chiefs, and it's like, what have the Chiefs done other than lose to the Lions that warrants them being, in front of them? And so then you flip in there at two, and now you're comparing them to the Dolphin, and it's like, who has the better loss? And it's like, the Dolphins may have lost to the better team, but they lost in worse fashion. So it's complicated. But I think
Yeah,
at the very least, they should be ahead of San Francisco.
I respect it, but at the end of the day, you know that if both running backs are hurt on that team, that offense is going to be drastically different.
Yeah, well, I
If
mean,
Montgomery and Gibbs are both out for an extended period,
like while we're on the topic of the Lions, they beat the Buccaneers 20-6. The Buccaneers, I don't have a lot of faith in them. I think they lose the second they play a team of competence. But for what it's worth, they were the team that fell out of the top 10 in your rankings. They beat them 20-6, and it's just like we were just talking about. There's not a lot of holes in the team. They play consistent week in and week out, and they've got a lot of upside. But the question I want to ask you isn't about necessarily what the Lions can do and how far this team can go. The question I want to ask you is, now that we're looking at this and we're really analyzing it, is Jared Goff the best NFC QB now that Jalen Hurts has been struggling all year? Is he the best guy in the NFC right now?
he might be. I mean,
I don't
I
see
don't
many
even know
reasons
if he's
why
a
he's
top
not.
five quarterback in the AFC, but in the NFC, sure.
Yeah, you'd have to argue in the AFC, but in the NFC, not top five in the NFC, not top three. Is he the best quarterback in the NFC in a conference where Jalen Hurts is playing right now?
I think so. But in the AFC, I don't even think he's. Let me think of who I'd put in front of him in the AFC.
In
Tua,
the NFC or the AFC?
Allen. In the AFC, let's say he was in the AFC.
Okay, Mahomes.
And
Yeah,
these are
Mahomes.
not in order. This is not in order. This is just who I would put in front of him. Tua, Allen, Mahomes. Locks.
Tua. You think Tua's a
Lamar
lock?
over Jared Goff right now?
I mean, the only reason I say that is because we had like let's not kid ourselves. We have seen Jared Goff make it to a Super Bowl. I know it was a long time ago. I know these guys been in the league in a
I'm saying
while.
right now, this season, number wise, stat wise, how I
Okay,
feel they're
I
playing
guess,
wise.
yeah. Even
Who
though I
was
mean,
the MVP front runner? I can't say
right,
Jared
I get
Goff.
it. Well, I think Mahomes is the odds-on runner, but we all know it's probably Tua. My only
Yeah,
issue with that is that Jared Goff doesn't have any like blatantly super bad games. Tua did have the stinker against Buffalo, so that's really the only
yeah.
argument you can make
And
for
his
Goff
stinker
over
wasn't
Tua this
that
year.
big of a stinker. It was more our defense just shit the bed.
Yeah, I mean that too, but it wasn't pretty. It was a couple
Yeah.
interceptions.
So I'm gonna say Tua, Allen, Mahomes. I still have Lamar Jackson over Jared Goff.
Okay. Trevor
Joe
Lawrence
Burrow
and
is
Burrow are
healthy.
still on
Joe
there.
Burrow is healthy. Um, I think you might say it. My personal bias will not let me say it. Justin Herbert. I don't think he's better than Jared Goff.
I don't think so either. I think Justin Herbert is proving not to be a winner. He's
I
proving
agree.
that he's not a winner, and I get it. We don't like the coach. Injuries galore. I get it. At the end of the day, after last night, the guy is 500 on his career, and that's all he's ever been in the
Sam,
NFL. Is exactly good. He's never been great.
want
He's
to
never
hear
progressed. He's been stuck at good.
this from First Take, stat of the
Yeah,
day. So, Philip Rivers, last
I was going to
54
use this. I'm
games.
glad that you're using this.
Philip Rivers, last 54 games with the Chargers.
Is
Justin
this first
Herbert's
take or first things first?
first 54. First Take. Remember, Herbert's brand new. Phillips is old in these stats.
Yeah.
Both 27 and 27.
Wait,
Rivers, 276.6 pass yards per game. Herbert, 285.6. Rivers, 96 pass touchdowns. Herbert, 103. Passer rating, 94.5 for Rivers. Herbert, 96.7 for Herbert. So you're telling me Herbert is like 1 point above old Philip Rivers in every single stat, and they have the same exact record through 54 games. 54 games is 3+ seasons.
I don't know what to tell you.
He's young, social media quarterback Rivers.
He's just that's what I was just saying. He's good. He's been good his whole career, but that's it. He's been good. He hasn't been able to take it to the next level and ascend his team to be great. And that's my issue with them right now. So I'm gonna put Goff ahead of Lawrence and Herbert for right now, just for right now, because
Oh, I
Herbert
didn't even
up and down.
Trevor
Trevor
Lawrence.
Lawrence has
That's
had a rough
AFC
year.
quarterback.
Trevor Lawrence has had a rough year so far, so I'm putting Goff ahead of both of those two. Lamar, we can argue. Burrow, we can argue. If we're talking just 2023, I'd put him ahead of
I'm
both.
willing to even say CJ Stroud.
No, because Jared Goff is 5-1. He's having a
No,
great
but I'm
year.
saying that where you could have a conversation about it. I'm not saying locks like Allen, Mahomes,
I
Burrow,
I don't know. I
Tua.
can't really have that conversation yet. I gotta wait because CJ Stroud's done. He's done that.
He's too
Like
young.
he's too young. They're what? Are they 3-3 or they're 3-2?
I think they're 5.
Either way, I think yeah, they're 3-3. So okay, look, I mean 3-3, 5-1, similar years. CJ Stroud has been great by all means, but Jared Goff is better. I guess right now he'd be 6, and then we can argue Lamar and him. But regardless, I'm just curious as to what you think because I think Jared Goff is going to start entering those MVP conversations if this keeps up. Because right now the Lions definitely look like maybe the most consistent team, most well put together team in the NFC at the moment after the 49ers collapse. And they're going to contend for the most complete team in the league. So I'm just curious as to what you think. We'll start we'll have to keep coming back to that soon as they keep playing more and more because I'm starting to get really intrigued in this team. But one more topic, real quick, before we move on to our pick'em, is the Bengals beating the Seahawks 17-13 in a game that we both picked the Seahawks. Burrow maybe starting to come back to form just a tiny bit. He didn't have his greatest game, but Geno didn't either. 323 yards, 2 interceptions. Nothing really getting going for the Seahawks at all. But now that they're 3-3, is how far back are you in terms of your belief in this team? I know I ask you this every week, but it's because I'm so curious as to what is going on with this Bengals team. Are we back? Are the Bengals back? Is your faith kind of restored yet in a game that they weren't supposed to win?
I mean, look, I did say this was like the first and last week of the part of their schedule. Because we talked about this 3 weeks ago. I said they need to sit them versus the upcoming 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Sam, do you know who the Bengals play? They have a bye week this week, so they're off.
Yeah.
At 49ers, home against Bills in the next 2 weeks.
It's gonna be
That's
tough.
brutal.
I mean, neither of those teams look good last week, so now who knows what happens now.
Yeah, but I'm looking at their schedule. They only play like 1 to 2 teams that aren't in a playoff seed or competing for one the whole rest of the year. Like they're playing a first place schedule. It's going to be rough. You still got the Chiefs twice, or excuse me, once. Like that's not ideal.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we'll see what happens with them. It's going to be interesting to see how they progress through these next two games. It's going to say a lot about them. But we don't got to spend too much time on them. We've talked about them the last 2 weeks.
And they
I want to
play
get to our
six teams that I have in the top 10
yeah.
of my rankings.
But I want to get to our pick 'em to recap last week and then do our week 7 ones. Just so we don't drag this episode on too long for you because we've got a crazy one tomorrow with college football. Um, Ryan, our week 6, as we look back, we had what 14 games? 1, 2, 3, 4, 15 games. Sorry, last weekend. Um, we both had our ups and downs, but ultimately, let's recap this real quick. See who won. As you know, we've had our ongoing competition all year. Chiefs. Chiefs and Broncos. We both obviously picked the Chiefs to win that one. We were correct. Ravens over Titans. We were correct there. We both picked the Ravens. Commanders, Falcons. We both took the Falcons and we're both wrong. Bears, Vikings. We both took the Bears and we were wrong. Seahawks, Bengals. We both took the Seahawks and we were wrong. So we're on a bit of a cold streak, but it continues
Yeah.
because then we both took the 49ers and we were wrong. Panthers, Dolphins. There we bounce back with the Dolphins. Colts, Jaguars. This is where our first separation in points happens. You took the Jags, I took the Colts. You were right there. And then we both took the Texans and we're right. Both took the Raiders and we're right. Both took the Rams and we're right. Both took the Eagles and we're wrong. So there wasn't a lot of separation this week, like we talked
Yeah.
about last week. The games were just so it seemed black and white, frankly. That there wasn't a lot of discretion on who to pick, but there were key disagreements here and there. Both took the Lions, both took the Bills. And then our second disagreement is you took the Cowboys, I took the Chargers. So at the end of the day, you went 14, 13, 12, 11, 10. You went 10 of 15. I went 8 of 15. And you win this week, Ryan. We will tally up the totals later on. That is
Add
not
it to
something
the
we'll do today.
overall from the
Yeah. In terms of your locks, another strong week for you. Mostert over 0.5 total touchdowns, that cashed. Mahomes over 2.5 touchdowns, did not cash. Waddle over 75 reception yards. I'd have to double check, which I'm going to do right now.
didn't
It did
cash.
not cash. Okay. So you went 1 for 3. I take it back. You were not so strong this week. And
Yeah.
then your bonus was Giants
Weakest
2
week so far.
turnovers. I don't think the Giants turned it over twice. There was no interceptions. I don't believe there was 2 fumbles. So that was a
Yeah,
miss there.
it was a blizzard this week.
Yeah, it was a bit of a blizzard. In terms of me, I had Tua over 1.5 touchdowns. I was right there. David Montgomery got hurt, so I don't believe.
It would be voided.
I think we just void that because he did play a little bit. So he got 6 carries and then went out. We can just call it a loss for whatever it's worth. And then I had I had AJ Brown. Sorry, over 80 yards. Not Amon. I wish it was Amon-Ra because
He
then I would have been
definitely
right.
cashed at AJ, right?
AJ definitely did cash. Another
Yeah,
huge
he
game
had
with
some
7
big
catches,
plays.
130 yards. Just didn't
Yeah.
quite get the touchdown to finish it off. And then I had Justin Fields over 2.5 passing touchdowns as my bonus. That did not cash. So I went 2 of 4. Ryan went 1 of 4. So I win on the locks. Ryan takes it overall. But with that, we move on to week 7. And this, I don't know. And we'll talk about this another time because this is something I want to talk about on the pod with just the somewhat weak scheduling going on this year with the NFL. But as we get into our week 7 pick'em, I will share the screen so that you guys can see everything as we go through and we make our picks. Because there's some good games this week, right? Like we can admit, we got obviously the one that me and you are personally looking forward to, Dolphins Eagles.
Finally, a good primetime game though.
Yeah,
With two good
exactly. This
teams.
is at night.
Finally.
Thank goodness. Jaguars Saints would have been good if Lawrence was playing, but I don't believe Trevor Lawrence is playing. So we can maybe void this when we do our picks.
Lawrence got hurt?
Yeah, his knee. He's dealing with a knee issue.
Who's
But if we
their
just
backup?
scroll through this, Lions Ravens should be a really good game. But other than Lions Ravens, Chargers Chiefs, Dolphins Eagles, so certainly a better week than we've had in weeks past.
Yeah.
But without further ado, let's get straight into this pick'em, Ryan. Jag Saints, who are you taking here?
Okay. Well, I think we should both put an asterisk on this.
Yeah,
because
we'll
I think
definitely put an asterisk on this on the basis that Trevor Lawrence. We'll assume he's playing. We'll assume he plays.
if Trevor Lawrence is playing, I have the Jags. But if
Me
he's
too. And
not,
if
I have the
not, we'll
Saints.
avoid this.
Yeah,
Raiders Bears. I don't think
Raiders.
Justin
Yeah.
Fields is playing.
I mean, I don't think it matters. I took him last week and they let me down. I mean, Brian Hoyer probably is going to be playing.
Yeah, I guess so. It's gonna be a weird game.
That might be one of the worst games I've seen.
Yeah.
Brian Hoyer versus the
I
who's the
guess
Bears backup?
it's the undrafted kid that was playing. Don't even know his name. I mean, let's look here. Justin Fields, but he's definitely not playing. It says he's doubtful. Oh, where are we going?
Yeah, let me here I can pull it up.
Yeah.
Box score Bears. Tyson Baggett
Yeah, that sounds right. He's seventh. He's like an undrafted rookie.
From Shepherd. Where the
Yeah,
hell is that?
It's not looking
Yeah,
pretty.
I got Brian Hoyer over that. Not by a lot, but
Yeah,
that might be the worst game of the week.
Browns Colts.
I got the Browns. I mean, there's
too,
no
but
way
this
they
could be
go and
closer
lay an
than
egg.
people think.
There's no way they go lay an egg against Gardner Minshew after beating the Niners, right?
Remember, teams that play the Niners in their next week now that the Cowboys won are like 2-15 in the last 17. The Cowboys were the first team in a long time to win after playing them.
Beat it.
And even that was close. So don't sleep on the Colts this week.
I'm still going to ride with the Browns.
Bills Patriots. I think we both know where we're going here.
The Patriots win this game, I would be utterly shocked. But I am going to root for them, but obviously Bills.
Commanders Giants.
Giants.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I mean, I think they had a decent shot to beat the Bills. The Commanders, I mean, they did win last week, but you gotta
win in the ugliest ways possible.
That game is gonna also be disgusting, and it's a divisional game. You know, those sometimes can get chippy.
That's true. I'm gonna take the Commanders though, so that'll be our first disagreement of the day. Falcons
Absolutely.
Bucks. How are you feeling about this one?
I gotta go for a Tampa rebound. Falcons let me down last week, as well as Tampa did. Well, they didn't let me down, but they let me down in fantasy with Mike Evans. But I'm gonna go with the Bucks. Easier opponent at home.
That's true. I'm gonna go Falcons still though. This probably should be one of the better games of the week. I'm excited for this. This should be a good game. Who are you taking here?
Because I'm gonna root for them to win, I'm gonna go for the Lions.
I'm also gonna pick the Lions. Like we just spent so much time hyping them up. Might as well get behind that.
Although on the college podcast, last time I said a team was eye test number 1, they lost.
Yeah, well,
we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, make sure to tune in tomorrow, guys. When the college video comes out. Last week's was amazing. I'll definitely tune into that one too if you didn't. But tomorrow should be great. We're gonna try to get games together. Me and Ryan will be here. We're gonna try and get Michael on and bring you guys another great episode. But Steelers Rams, who do we have here?
I got the Rams offense is way too explosive. Now I know the Steelers defense can prevent points.
Being out.
Yeah, I know, but I know the Steelers defense can prevent points. But are we trusting the Steelers defense to score more than 21 points? I mean, the Steelers offense score more than 21?
I agree. I'm also going to pick the Rams.
Just on a basis that the Steelers offense is terrible. Coming off a bye week also.
Yes. Cardinals Seahawks.
I'm going to go for a Seattle bounce back here.
Me too.
But the Cardinals, they always play it close. So 8-point spread is interesting.
Packers Broncos.
Heads for Packers, tails for Broncos. Siri, flip a coin. Hey Siri, flip a coin. All right, she's not. I'm just gonna say tails, so I'll go with the Broncos.
That's fun. I'll take the Packers here. I think they just have a little bit more upside. I know they're not all the way healthy. I just can't get behind the Broncos.
I can't get behind either team, really.
Yeah, Chargers Chiefs should be one of the better games of the weekend. These games are always close. What do you think, Ryan?
I got the Chiefs. I got the Chiefs.
Yeah, I'm also going to go to the Chiefs, but these games are always closer than people think.
Yeah,
The Chuck's
division
really
games, but
yeah.
clutch time Herbert don't scare me.
And the primetime game that we're all looking forward to here, a little extra on this channel, Dolphins Eagles. I think I know where you're going. I know where I'm going. I'm going to let my personal bias in the way, but Ryan, what do you think?
I gotta go with the Fins. You know, no, I gotta support the boys, bro. I can't root against my team.
I'm right there with you. And that brings us to the end of our pick'em segment. Now we get into our locks.
We got
Ryan.
Monday.
Oh, true. Yeah. Who do you have Monday? Sorry, I didn't even.
I still do with the Niners though.
I mean, yeah, I
I
think we
think
both know the Niners are going to win. With no Jettas, that game wasn't even paying attention to you. So
six
that's
teams on
why I
bye
skipped
this
it,
week.
guys.
Yeesh.
What?
6 teams on bye this week.
Yeah, it's a big week this week for the buys. Ryan, what are your locks for
Or
this
in
week? A
the
little bit
AFC.
of a cold week last week and need a bounce back. So what are you thinking?
Um, Let me look at the actual line so I can formulate it. Nah, I can probably guess it. Jalen Hurts.
Oh, the
I don't
line is
even know what
next. I don't know which line are you looking for.
I'm saying like a player prop line for like Hurts.
I like
Let me
doing
go
player
in and look at
props
his
more when
game
we do
log.
this.
What?
I like doing it with player props more when we do these locks.
That's what I'm saying. So let me pull up Jalen Hurts real quick, and then I'll look at kind of what he averages, and then I'll formulate a number here. Okay, I got him pulled up. Jalen Hurts plus 40 rushing yards. Now he's averaging about probably a little over 40. But dude, I mean, I'm gonna hope I'm wrong, but the Dolphins defense loves to let me down, especially with running quarterbacks. So I think that's a lock. Also, I do think Tyreek, however many receptions he wants, he's gonna get. Let me kind of see what he's averaging so I can formulate.
Probably about 7 or so. That's what you've definitely had the line at. So
Yeah,
for
I know
sure.
I've given that to him in the
Well,
past.
if you look here, we've played 6 games. He's at 42 receptions, so that's 8 receptions per game exactly.
Okay, Tyreek plus 8 receptions.
Yeah, so Hill over 8 receptions. I'll give you
If it's
seven
eight
and
and
a
a
half.
half, I still have over 8.5.
I'll give you the
I think
seven
he
and
can
a
get
half to be
9 or 10.
generous.
Yeah.
And then give me one more.
Just from scrolling around this slate, looking at the games, Justin Herbert over 0.5 interceptions. So one interception for Herbert. Especially, I think the game will be close. He will have the opportunity to lose the game, and he will
And this
lose
is
the
a
game.
good Chiefs defense too. It's probably the best defense they've had in the Mahomes era.
Yeah.
Do you want to give us a bonus, or are you skipping out on that this week?
Yeah, we can do a bonus.
Sure. Throw me like a little far fetched bonus, like for fun.
I mean, this doesn't count. Mac Jones will get benched. I want to put that out there
Okay,
on
Mac Jones
record. I'm not saying that's a bonus.
0.5 benching.
Over under halftime before he gets benched. But no, I do think Patriots turnovers will
I'll
be.
put.
I think
I'll give you 2 bonuses then.
I
Mac
think
Jones over and a half
over
0.5 benches.
25 benches.
What was the other one
Um,
you said for the Patriots?
I don't even know if I can bet on them, bro. They're so terrible. I'd go Matt Stafford over 2.5 touchdowns
That's a bold one.
because I don't think they're going to be rushing, throwing
Well, yeah, I
touchdowns.
mean they've got they're without their QB, but Patriots or Steelers defense laying up 3 passing touchdowns is definitely bold.
Minka Fitzpatrick. I mean,
I guess Joey Porter Jr. has been locked, so I'm interested to see him on Cup.
yeah. I just think they're going to be doing in the red zone a lot of little screens and just dropping in.
For my locks, the first one I'm gonna have to cherry pick this. I'm going for the low hanging fruit. The lockiest of locks, C-Mac over 0.5 touchdowns. Of course, now that I say that, he
17
won't
weeks in a
score.
row.
Yeah, it's like now that I say that, he won't score, but for now, C-Mac over.
It's like when Messi scored, or it was like his first 10 games or
Yeah,
whatever it was.
exactly. For now, I'll jinx that, but I'm gonna say Russell Wilson over 0.5 interceptions.
That's how I feel about Herbert, man.
And then I'm gonna say, man,
There's just so many like
I'm
games.
tempted to take the Raiders and Bears under. I'm gonna
Is
take
the under like 20, bro? Come on. Should
37.
be at 20.
I'll take. I'm gonna take. I'm gonna do an alternate spread here. I'm gonna do
Okay.
the Lions plus 4.5. The line is Baltimore -3. I'll give them the extra point and a half. I'm gonna say Lions plus 4.5. I think they're gonna win
Yeah, I
outright.
think the
The
Lions win
fact
that
that the
game.
Ravens are only getting 3 points at home means that this game is practically even.
Even.
Uh, so I'll do Lions plus 4.5, and then I'll throw a
Look at
bonus
that
out.
Rams game. They're -3 as well.
Yes,
Tampa's
yeah,
minus two and a half. A lot of close spreads. No 15 plus point spreads this week.
I think the largest is the either Seahawks game. Yeah, I think the Seahawks have the highest spread this week. No, Bills do. I guess they're tied.
And that's only 8.5 compared to last week. They're 15 because it is a division game.
Yeah, for my bonus, I'm gonna say I want to do something a little out there.
Primetime Kirk? Question mark.
Oh yeah, true.
Primetime Kirk. Just saying against the best defense in, like you said, potentially 50 years on paper.
No, what? No, I was talking about the Browns, not the 49ers.
I'm just saying.
Oh man, this is hard. I would too like an Anthony Richardson one if he was there. I'm gonna say
Primetime Kirk's
Miles,
interception line is probably at 1.5 instead of 0.5.
just because we never say anything like specific defensive player wise. I'll just throw it in there as a bonus. Miles Garrett over 0.5 sacks. I don't. It's not too much of a bonus, but
Oh, but IDP love.
right, we don't really show we don't really show defensive players that much love, specifically. But with that being said, that'll do it for our pick'em segment this week and our episode as a whole. I know the time ran long, but the topics, we didn't really get too much of an engaging week last week. But for sure, stay tuned for college tomorrow. It was a great week. We're gonna have a great episode planned for you there. Another edition of Sam Standing, some crazy debates. I'm really hoping we get Michael on because he always makes those episodes even better. But Ryan, do you have anything you want to say before we get out of here?
No, that's about it. I think next week, regardless of result, regardless of how the teams play, that Sunday night game is going to be the lead off of the segment, probably
Oh,
followed by
yeah.
Ravens Lions.
Yeah, 100%. Next week's episode is going to be really good. Looking forward to getting it to you guys. Stay tuned. We've got a lot of stuff coming this week and coming soon. Obviously, this NFL video. We've got college coming tomorrow from whenever you're seeing this. Because of the huge fight this weekend, we're going to get something UFC related to you. And then stay tuned because we have some specials and some other stuff in the works. Thank you, everyone, for the support. And until next time.